Hey there, everyone. This is Kristen, your favorite marketing expert. Not really. I'm just dropping in really quick because I wanted to come in and share a quick interview with you guys with one of my current clients. His name is Derrick Hill. He is a nonprofit coach. Now, I know a lot of you are either coaches, consultants, or potentially in the e-commerce space. And a lot of you have asked, different questions about, how does certain things in marketing work, whether it's trying to get your ads together, what types of tools you should use, is there a certain type of coaching that you need? And so what I wanted to do was just bring Derrick in live, since he is actively getting assistance from me right now. And so that he could pretty much give you his feedback on what working with me is like, and maybe kind of answer some questions that you guys may have had. So without further ado, Derrick, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so happy that you decided to just take time out of your busy schedule, because I know you are very busy. And I just really appreciate you taking the time to come and chat with me today. Do you want to just open it up really quick and just say hello?
You know what, Kristen, it is definitely my privilege, and currently working with you. It has been a pleasure for me. I'm a learner, and I like learning. And Christian, one of the things, and I think, and I always tell you this when we're on our calls and we're going through the course, um, I see the value in what you bring just by me being, just by the things that you're teaching me. And I believe, Steve Harvey said something that I'll never forget. We was in camp, and he said, because Mr. Harvey with the Harvey Foundation is one of my clients, and Mr. Harvey said he don't want people around him who wants what he earned. He wants people who wants what he's learned.
Wow.
And that's what I want. It's not about, the things that you can get. I said, man, if you could just teach me, and Kristen, and that's what I'm learning. And that's why I'm delighted to be here, because like you opened me up in a whole nother different space.
Wow, that is huge. Thank you so much for that. So,
Yeah.
so that we can kind of, let everyone know a little bit about what it is that you do specifically, what you're an expert in. Tell them a little bit more about your nonprofit coaching and just kind of how you got started and, where your business is right now.
Yeah. So in 2009, I started a company because I have a passion, Kristen, to help people start nonprofit organizations, right? And so I started a nonprofit organization way back about maybe 17 years ago, right? But in 2009, I said, you know what? I want to be able to help others, because I bumped my head so many times along the way, with the nonprofit organization that I started. And so I was a marketing major at Jackson State University, right?
Mhm.
And so when I started the nonprofit organization, and then I started having a level of success, I said, man, I want to be able to help people to really thrive in the nonprofit space, because there's not a lot of information out there for individuals about the nonprofit space.
Right.
So in 2009, I started a company called Hill Chase, which is designed strictly to help people start, sustain, and grow their nonprofit organizations. And from that point, I launched just 3 years ago. I had a vision board, right? And on my vision board, I cut out, this is no lie, I cut out a picture of Steve Harvey and I put it on my vision board. I cut out a picture of Rickey Smiley, put it on my vision board. Cut out a picture of a young lady from the Housewives, put it on my vision board. Cut a picture of Kevin Hart, I put it on my vision board, and others. And every single day, I said, one day I'm going to work for these people. Now I'm looking at these people on television, Family Feud, there's all this. I said, but one day I'm going to influence and help their nonprofit organizations, right? Long story short, it's a reality today. And literally, for me to be able to serve and assist, so many of the individuals that I watch on television, but then now I had to cross another bridge, because I do recognize that everyone doesn't have the pockets of a Steve Harvey or Rickey Smiley or all these celebrities.
Right.
And I said, I wanted to be able to still provide services to those individuals, although they don't have those kinds of money.
Yeah.
And so I said, you know what? Let me develop a course. All of the successes that I've learned and all of the things that I've learned, I said, I'm going to deploy it in one course. I designed a course, and then I went straight to Facebook. And I said, okay, I'm going to put some money and just do an ad, right?
Right.
And I said, and so because I got the course, it took me about a year and a half to develop because all of the things that I wanted to do, put it in the course. And so, okay, say, hey, listen, now I could work with everyone. I'm only one person, right?
Yes.
And so I went to Facebook and I said, okay, I'm going to just go on the ad. I'm going to put 500, 800. And I started putting money on Facebook ads. And I'm like, man, why is this stuff not working?
Yeah.
But I was just hitting one button. And I'll never forget this. I saw your ad, right? Um, and I was like, God, like, you hear my prayer because I'm just literally feeding money into this system that wasn't working.
Right.
And Christian, that's when I saw your ad. When I saw your ad, I'm not a big person to endorse or thing, but when I saw your ad, and I told you just before, the first thing that I saw, I said, I can trust this individual. When I was able to do that, because I've never saw an ad and said, okay, I'm going to do something. But when I saw your ad, Christian, I said I could trust you. And from that point, I think he was doing a 5-week boot camp, a free boot camp or something like that.
5-day boot camp. Yeah.
Yep. And after the first 2 weeks, I think, or something like that, I said, I can trust her. And that's when we started having the conversations. And then here I am today. And I mean, I'm learning so much, Christian, things that I never would have imagined. So that's my little soliloquy right there.
Wow. So let's just back this up really quick, because I know a lot of people start out very
Yeah.
similar to you, right? They'll say, "Oh, I want to do this, or I want to do this, or I want to do that," right? Maybe they have a vision board, maybe they don't. But the fact that you had a vision board and you took the time to list out exactly who you wanted meant that you were laser focused on who your ideal audience would be or your ideal clients would be, right? That meant that you had to have some drive to get there. In order for you to get there, before you even got into the Facebook ad stuff, how did you know for sure? Like, what was the deciding moment that made your vision a reality for you? Right? Like when you're saying, I want to go after all these really big guys, but they it may seem like they're out of reach because you're watching them through a television screen, to the point to where eventually 3 years later you're standing there working with them, helping them develop their nonprofits. What was that driving
Yeah.
factor?
That driving factor, that's such a great question. I think for me, that driving factor was I could recall even doing that particular vision board. The driving factor for me came out of frustration of saying, man, there's so much more that I could do and that I could become, that I knew that there was something more inside of me. And I think everyone has those levels of frustration at times to say, you know what? I know that there's something bigger than me inside of me. I know that I have more skill set. I know that I can help more people. So it came out of that vision board came in out of saying, there's more. And I had gotten to a point of frustration. I said, Derrick, it's time to go to the next level. But in order to grow to the next level, I had to first see it.
Yeah. Got it.
And when I started cutting the pictures, Christian, and put the vision board, I began to see it. That was the first time that I saw it. And you made a great point because you said like laser focus.
Yeah.
When I cut those pictures out, I became laser focused.
Almost like
And I
making
said,
it
man,
tangible, right? Like you're putting your hands on it.
yeah, it was tangible. It was tangible. It was something that I could see, feel, that I saw myself actually doing. And I'll never forget this. So I have my cell phone right here. So I get a text, Christian, right? So I did the vision board. I get a text message that says, AD, the team wants to meet with you at Steve Harvey's office in the morning. And I said, well, damn, I didn't apply for a job. Like I didn't apply for this.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. So, and I'm reading the text. And so I said, text me the address. And I get the address to Mr. Harvey's office, which is in the Midtown Atlanta area. And I said, okay, I'll be there in the morning. Christian, I got in my car and I was like, how did I even get to the point of getting a text to saying, meet, go down to Mr. Harvey's office? Long story short to that, I get to the office and I say, I'm Mr. Hill. And I'm thinking I'm going to see all of these Steve Harvey banners and all that. I didn't see nothing. It was just like a, regular building. I guess
Regular
they
office.
decoyed. Exactly. So, but I get there, Christian, and within the first 8 minutes, they was like, you're the guy. And it's from that point in the 8 minutes of the conversation, and I'm still there today running logistics for the for the virtual mentoring program,
Amazing.
and that was because I had that vision, because something was tangible. Same thing with Rickey Smiley. I get a phone call from the radio station, and meet me down at Ricky's, the radio station. Same thing happened.
Right.
I'm like, wow. And so, Christian, I believe that when a person has a vision
Mm-hmm.
and they see it and don't let anything distract them, I honestly believe that it'll come to pass.
Well, see, Derek, that right there is exactly the reason why I wanted to interview you today. Because the same vision that it took for you to be able to say, this is what I want for my business, this is what I'm going to do, even though the frustration comes in, and you still move forward. It's the same vision that I tell people that you have to have, even when you're doing something as simple as trying to figure out who your next audience is, or your offer is, or you're trying to write a campaign or an ad or any of that stuff. Because at the end of the day, we're good at what we're good at, right? We're good at the things that we're passionate about, our business, the things that we really like. But sometimes there's going to be these obstacles, these frustrations, these tactical or technical things that we need to do in our business, and it may or may not be what we really want to be focused on. And it may seem like it's out of reach. It may seem like we know that this is the thing we need to do, but that you for whatever reason, maybe you've tried certain things before, it didn't work out, and you may be in that place of disbelief. But if you stay true to your vision, it can help you continue to move forward, right? It can help you continue to get to that place where you are seeing success.
Yeah.
So,
And you said, you know what, you just said something that was so powerful, Christian. You said, I figured out a reason.
mm-hmm.
It was because of my why, because of my reason, that I got up every day and I kept doing it.
Yeah.
When you just said the reason, when you said I found the reason, and
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody's why should be the thing that wakes them up every morning
Mm-hmm.
or keep them up late at night,
Mm-hmm.
is because of that why. Is because of what you just said. It was because of that reason. And when I found the reason, I said, you know what? I'm not going to let anything distract me or let the frustrations get the best of me, because I think as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, we all have levels of frustrations and things of that nature because we want to see. But what you just said was that reason. And that's what keeps me. That's what keeps me going right now. It's just that why.
So tell me this. You mentioned that you got to a place in your business you wanted to open up to be able to offer more services to those at different levels, right? Not just the celebrity level, but those who are just at the everyday level, right? They may have smaller banks essentially that they're working with, right? And ultimately, you want to start using ads to get in front of them. And you tried this before, right? Tell me a little bit about the ads you were trying to run and what your goal was, or at least what you thought your goal was going to be.
This is embarrassing that you.
No,
let me tell
look,
you. Let me tell
we're
you
in
what I was trying. No,
consistency.
no, no. Let me tell you what I was trying to do. I'm embarrassed even answering it, but hopefully I'll help somebody. Hopefully somebody gonna listen to this and be like, "This dude's embarrassment will help somebody else." Don't. This is what I don't want you to do. You know how so this is. I would go on, like, if I'm not feeling well, I would go on like this WebMD website, and I'll try to figure out the symptoms on my own and
Mhm.
say, okay, this feels this. Never do that, because if you go on WebMD, you'll be like, oh my God, you're dying if you put it. That's the same thing with social media. If you try to do this thing by yourself and you don't know what you're doing, you dying. That's how I was. And I was trying to run ads. So the ads I was trying to run, let me tell you this, the webinar, there's so much I got to tell you. The ads that I was trying to run I was focusing on, going after helping, being able to offer a course to help
Mhm.
other individuals, right? So that's the ad that I was running.
Mhm.
But man, when I looked at the analytics, it was like 8 people opened it. I was like, what am I doing? And it was a horrible experience, because I just went to Google You know what I'm saying? I was like, let me just go to Google. And so everything I saw on Google was just go to the ad, put the money in, and just see what happens. And that's exactly what I was doing. And
Right.
yeah, fortunately,
Gotcha.
I
So then,
lost so much money doing that.
oh, but the thing I always tell people is that sometimes you have to kind of go through that, right? So that you can kind of see, all right, this is what I need to not do. Like what you just said, right? These are the mistakes you want to avoid. And but when you do try to, go about it yourself, and I commend you for trying to even just figure it out, because some people won't even do that. They'll just say, I'll just wait for referrals. I'm good on
Yeah,
referrals, right? And
yeah,
in some businesses, referrals can be very lucrative. But the one thing I think just COVID alone has taught everyone, right? And just in the past few months, past year, even, and even for years to come, is that you can't rely on just one business model, right? You have to be able to have
yeah,
various channels where you can get in front of your ideal audience where they're already hanging out, no matter what it is. I use the analogy of the TV all the time, right? I say you're watching your favorite show, and the reason why they keep showing the same commercial every 10, 20, 30 minutes over and over and over and over and over again is because you're hanging out in front of the TV. And they know
mm,
eventually when you get up to go to the store or go out to your house and you're thinking about something to eat or you need to go to Walmart, whatever it is, that commercial that played over and over and over
yeah,
is going to come to mind. So when you're
yeah,
hungry, you're going to think about, oh, there's that new place on Fifth. Let's go over there. Let's just try it. Or, oh, I need to get laundry detergent. This is that new guy that's supposed to be organic. Let's try this one, right? And so advertising is the same way. And when you Google it, you're right. You are going to find where they say, click this button, make this image, or insert this, push go, put your money in there, right? And ideally, you're just going to start throwing money at the wall and eventually hope that someone's going to pay attention. I mean, with the TV
yeah,
ads, they're just spinning the commercial over and over and over and over and over again. You might
yeah,
be watching TV Land and you're like saying your 30s or 40s and you just happen to like old TV shows, but you're seeing all the Medicaid and Medicare and the insurance and the life planning commercials, right? Because their
right,
demographic is really those who are like grandparents and great grands and whatnot. And that may not be you, but that's what you're
right,
seeing, right?
yeah,
And they're not worried about trying to narrow that target base. They're just running the ads.
yeah,
So when you Google it, that's kind of what they're telling you. Oh yeah, just run your ads. Just put something up, put whatever your text is, put a headline, go for it, right? And there's no real thought process, no real strategy involved. So
yeah,
when you do that, it can get very frustrating. And we've talked about that, right? Like
yeah,
this kind of where you were with it. So for me to help others understand, especially if they're in that place, maybe they thought, hey, I've, invested in trainings before, or I've been on so and so's training, or I've tried these different things. And, I've got some little nuggets here. I think I have enough to run with. What was the thing? I mean, I know you said that you saw my ad and you thought, oh, I could trust this girl, but what was the thing? And this can even be, based on our conversations, just back and forth. What was the thing that helped you to really say, even though I've spent this money on these ads before and it's been whatever the results have been, what was the thing that really made you feel like you needed to give it another go and that you were even willing to give me a chance to help you to do it?
yeah. Great question. Great question. It was because of my phone kept ringing with individuals who wanted my help
Okay.
from an individual consulting standpoint.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I'm only one person. So in a given week, I'm not, it will not happen. I can't serve everyone.
Hmm.
So for me, the deciding factor was, I was like, Derrick, how can you duplicate yourself where you're just not in Georgia or just not in Atlanta or just not working with the 8 people who
Yeah.
you can talk to over the phone?
Right.
And so for me, giving it another chance, Christian, was the fact of I was giving somebody else another chance with the service and the product that I had.
Okay.
So for me, and this is goes for anyone, if I would have stopped, then what about the thousands of people who needed the course?
Right.
That's my driving factor. Money never drives me of all of the money that can come from result of the course. What really drives me is if I have a product or a service, and if 6,000 to 10,000 people need to get it, I owe it to them to get it in their hands.
You do. You
That was my
definitely
driving
do.
point,
One of my
to be
mentors,
completely honest.
one of my mentors used to tell me the same thing, and not just me. He would tell all of us that were in his program,
Yeah,
right? He says you owe it to your business, to yourself, and to the thousands of others out there who need your help to show up where they are, right? To
yeah,
let them know, hey, I'm here, I can help you, and to continue
yeah.
to make that available. And I'm so glad that you shared that because, yes, you are 1,000% right. That is exactly the drive, right? Exactly the drive to have. And, okay.
Even with that, when I saw your ad, I didn't even think twice about the cost. I mean, because you can't look at the cost of anything. You look at the value or the return
Mm-hmm.
from what you're going to spend.
Mm-hmm.
Because if an individual is always calculating
Yeah.
how much is this going to cost me
Mm-hmm.
without looking at the ROI on top of it,
Right.
then you'll never make a decision. If a person
And the
always says,
well, I was
go
just
ahead.
going to say, and the funny thing is, the ad that you're referring to was for a free boot camp. So that was just to come in and get help from me for free. If you wanted to show up for 5 days, right? So, you know, and not to say anything against that. It's just the fact that, again, you never know where channels can take you, right? If you just raise your hand and say, hey, this is a good fit for me, but I think I might need some help with this. Are you willing to help me? Right? It can open up other doors. Sometimes it might be a good fit, sometimes it's not. But in your case, right? I've literally taken you where? Where have I taken you on your journey?
It's a good fit. Let me tell you this. And I was telling my friend just yesterday, her name is Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Nicole, I met this young lady named Christian who is taking me to a whole nother level. She said, Derrick, this is her exact question to me. She said, Derrick, do you see a difference in your learning from when you was doing it on your own to working with her? I said, absolutely. I said, just the little things on a privacy. Hell, a privacy what? Uh, these are things that I didn't even know about. The all of it, like even just there's so much that I didn't even know existed. Because I'm just thinking you get an ad, you put it, but all of the back end stuff in terms of a lot of stuff I just did not know that you and I are going through.
Okay.
And then, so here's the biggest piece. Here's the biggest piece: the automation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at a point in my life that I can't just keep doing it. Like exchanging time for money just gets old after a
Right.
while. And when I'm looking at the system, like I was in the app today, I'm like, man, the automation is just amazing. Like I could be
But
on
wait.
vacation.
So let me back up. Let me back up real quick, just so they
All right.
know. Okay, so what he's talking about is my Social Blue Ocean app, right? And
Oh,
this is the powerhouse that we're using to basically manage, run, and maintain his entire funnel, his business system for managing his clients, for managing people coming into his webinar. Anytime he runs ads, emails, all of that jazz, it's all in one place instead of 18 different individual applications to do the exact same thing, right? So now we can go ahead and kind of fast forward because I know they were kind of like, when you're like the app, they're like, wait, what? What's the app? What are you
yeah.
talking about? Okay, so
And
go
let me tell
ahead.
you, hey, Christian, I would be sending 50 different emails to all of these people, and then send an email to this person, and then construct another email and sending emails. And I'm like, man, this is too much time.
Yeah.
And so even today, when I was inside of the app,
Mhm.
I'm configuring all of my emails so that it's just automated. And I'm saying exactly what I want to say. It is automated. So I'm like, damn, when I go on vacation, automations are still hitting.
There it
That's what
is.
I need. And so let me tell you, so just in that alone, like there's so much value that I see. Like you did something, Christian, and I just have to commend you on this. When I first started working together, you said, Derrick, I want you to go through your webinar with me. And I'm like, she's ready to stay on the phone with me for 90 minutes while I go through a full webinar. I was like, who is this lady? I said, wait a minute, I can't put this lady through this.
No,
She was
but yeah,
you was like,
tell them why.
no,
Tell them
Derrick.
why. Tell them why I said that.
You was like, Derrick, no, I want you to go through your whole presentation
Yeah,
and that you're going to critique my presentation.
yeah.
I said, man, I got a winner here. Like, who does that? Who says I'm gonna sit up here and I'm gonna listen to your whole spill? And you went through my whole spill. And then when you gave me feedback, like I was driving downtown day before yesterday. When you get, and so I just finished all of the feedback that you gave from a webinar.
Yeah.
I'm like, my webinar is amazing. Hell, I could sell myself if I did that video to me, I could sell myself. And so just on the webinar, the critiques alone, the value is there. But so yeah, it's great. It's great. It's great.
Amazing. And you've been putting in a lot of work, right? You've been putting in a lot of work. You've been
Yeah,
very
for sure.
patient. You have gone through and completed building your ad. We've completed your landing page. We've
Yeah,
completed, the pixels, even with the iOS
yeah,
14 crazy stuff going on, right?
yeah,
And you're basically, what, maybe one more meeting away from launching? You're getting your
yeah. It
automation
is.
and your emails together. You've got your webinar together. You've got the script, or rather, your
Yeah,
slides and everything are ready to go. Tell me,
yeah.
tell me, tell me, tell me about, just in your own opinion. You know, when you think about your webinar before and the delivery, and just kind of like what we talked about versus where we are now, when we talk
Yeah.
about your webinar and just kind of where you see it. What do you think is kind of the key takeaway that you feel like has improved now when you go to deliver your message? Because again, it's not about just trying to get results or just trying to close people, but it's really
Yeah.
about trying to deliver the right message to the right person who needs help and letting them know that you are the right choice for them. What do you see
Okay.
as far as being like the
You,
the,
you,
the biggest improvement?
hey, you ready? You ready for this, Christian? when I when I did my first webinar, because
Mhm.
in the webinar you can see how many people is on a webinar,
Yeah,
and you can see when they leaving, right?
yeah.
When I did my first webinar before you, I saw about 100 people on there. After 20 minutes, all of them were leaving. I was like, dude, where y'all going? And here's the frustrate. I had too much fluff in there. I had too much fat in there. I had just too much stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be completely honest, that was a self-esteem killer. That right there, when you talking and people are leaving,
Yeah.
that
It's hard.
honestly, that one right there hurt me.
Yeah.
You can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, cool. So when that happened, I was like, okay, this one hurts because I can't go through that again. So one of the takeaways, I found out why. In the first 30 minutes of my webinar, I ain't telling them nothing. I'm telling them who I am, what's my name, all this stuff, like they don't want to hear. And they dropping off. And I remember when you said, when we was talking about the webinar the other day,
Yeah.
and you was like, Derrick, you gotta, welcome. You said you was like, you gotta, welcome them.
Hmm.
You gotta tell them what you're ready to tell them, engage them. I did not engage anything. And when you talked about having the engagement, okay, hey, where you from? Who you do? Oh man, good to have you. I didn't do any of that. So just the level of engagement, like, and then you told me something that was like the ouch moment.
Yeah.
Like you told me, and I didn't say ouch, but you told me an ouch moment. Like you was like, Derrick, I went through you as you were presenting.
Hmm.
You said it felt like you was just going after the money because of the way I was stacking. He was like, Derrick, you keep repeating this money thing
Yeah.
and you're going to lose people on your stack.
Yep.
I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And when I changed the stack, and if you want to play explain, when I changed it,
Yeah.
my webinar flows so smooth until it's just a natural flow.
Yes.
I was getting tired Let me tell you,
The
when I did my
energy.
first one, I got so tired after the 35 minutes. I was like, man, I ain't got nothing to offer y'all. I'm going to sleep.
That's how it feels. Because it's a marathon, right? And if you sprint out really, really fast, you're gonna run out of gas before you get to the good part, right? And then the good part's supposed to be there, and you're like, I'm gonna have to let that go. If y'all need help, just find me, right? Like that's what it feels like. But you can't do
That's
that.
what I did. I was like, just find me. Find me on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Good night.
Totally understand. We've all been there, Derek, honestly. And even if watching this have never done a webinar before, and you're thinking about doing it, I hope that if you think that you might need some help, that you either reach out to Derek or even reach out to me, because definitely get some help before you do it. Because I failed horribly at it for at least 2 years before it clicked finally, and now I'm helping other people avoid my 2 year mistake, right? Of when you're presenting and going through and doing webinars, but it is definitely a pacing thing, and with all
Yeah,
things, right? Whether you're running ads, whether you're doing a webinar, whether you're learning how to build a landing page for your business, right? Figuring out what your ad copy is, figuring out how to do a closing call or a sales call or a prospecting call for your audience. Maybe you're trying to, run ads for your e-commerce store and you're not seeing as many sales immediately as you'd like. There's a whole troubleshooting aspect to it that a lot of people never quite get a chance to get to
mhm,
because they're always just focused on that front end part. Oh, just stick this in front of people and they'll buy it. That's it, right? And then
yeah,
you get burnt out and you realize that is really not the thing. People want
yeah,
to know that you are there to help them, that you will have a conversation with them and treat them like a human being in all things. Conversation is the most important thing that you could ever offer someone. And then
yeah,
as you get to know about what their problem is, let them know that you hear them, that you understand what it is. And if you can have a solution, whether it's a referral to someone else or something that you can do yourself, let them
yeah,
know it in its most
yeah,
simplest form. That is the
yeah,
one thing, if I had to say anything, that a lot of all of us, marketers, business owners, coaches, consultants, all of us, we skate past it and we make
yeah,
what we do that much harder when we do. But when you
yeah,
pay attention and you make sure that that is worked into every faucet of your business, right? Your product, your descriptions, your presentation, your phone calls, your emails, your text messages, your landing pages, all of it, then people will finally find you and realize that, yeah, this is who I need. And then it'll be easier for you because it won't feel like it's such a creation process. It'll feel so
right,
much more natural. Like, well, yeah, that's what I wanted to say anyway, right?
right.
Versus, oh, well, they said it like this, and it looks like I guess I have to do what they're doing. No, it needs to be you because that's what people are connecting with.
Yeah, and
And
then
so,
it was totally, and the webinar was totally not me. It was so mechanical.
yeah.
You know, it was so mechanical. Like I would have dropped off my own webinar to be honest. But now it's, honestly, like, but it feels really organic. As I go through it now, and I went through it last night, it feels really, really organic. Yeah. So even that is just a takeaway because, prior to COVID, I was doing presentations all over
Yeah.
and everywhere. And then after the presentation was over, the line would be long of people saying, "Hey, man, listen, can you do more? We want you to do consulting even more. Can we go? How do we go to the next level?" Well, Christian, when COVID hit, I couldn't go anywhere.
Right.
There was no travel anymore,
Right.
and so the travel was just what we are right now on this digital world that we're traveling in. So I know that doing the webinar is, it's so important. The presentation is so important. And you know what? It's for me, it's so different doing it live
Mm-hmm.
and standing in front of people and
It
then
is.
in the engagement. So it's definitely a learning curve for me. That's one for sure.
For sure. Yeah, and you're right. It's a total different experience doing it digitally versus even if you're just doing it with slides and you're not on camera to
Yeah.
standing on a stage and actually delivering to people. Like being able to engage the room, feeling the energy there. It's so much that goes into all of that. And honestly, that's a whole nother session of mechanics and training and energy and all of that good stuff all on its own. But,
Yeah.
again, I commend you, Derrick, because you have really, really, really stuck to your guns, and you have turned out a wonderful campaign with me, and not just with me, but honestly, just for yourself in general, right? And the fact
Yeah.
that you allowed me to be a part of your journey, I truly appreciate that. And in
I
all
appreciate
honesty,
it too, and I asked you a while ago. I said, "Man, Christian, like you took me through Facebook and all of these changes." I was like, "Christian, you really love this," and I said, like, because I was like,
people
because
think I'm crazy. They're like, this
yeah,
is what she. Ugh, I
she
hate this
is
stuff.
like when I was listening, when we're on our calls, sometimes like she is such a techie. Like who loves this like this? Like
I am a nerd. I tell everyone I'm 100% nerd all day. Like this is the stuff that I spend waking moments doing. Everyone else is just like, yeah, but don't you go out? Go out where? I go out on my systems, on my computer. I'm
like
surfing the
Kristen.
net.
Like we would be on, we'll be on for an hour and a half, 2 hours straight, like no breaks. I'm like, how does she do this? But I think it just goes back with passion. And I think anyone who has the passion, and I just honestly believe if a person has passion for their business model, we have to put in the time, we have to put in the work, and clearly you have studied that. And I think every person needs a mentor or a coach. Sometimes, and it's just inevitable, the coach needs a coach.
Yes.
And so I'm honored to literally have you as my coach, and I already tell you this is going to be a long time journey because everybody needs a coach. And this is just an area that, yes, I do want to learn, and I am putting the time in. However, I do know that if I'm going to grow it, this level of business to the next level, I have to have somebody who is well advanced, who's been there, so they can say, okay, Derrick, do it this way, take this route, do it this way. So that's the exciting part about me, the ability. And I think, and I always say this, Christian, and you know this as well as I do, you can't get into any system and not do the work.
No.
There are a lot of people that are out there who say, well, let me join this or let me pay my money and then just expect for it to happen.
Yep.
And if you're listening, and if that's your tune to say, well, listen, I'm gonna just pay it because it don't happen like that. Nothing happens overnight. You're gonna have to put in the work,
Yep.
put in the time, whoever model you choose, and recognizing, and Christian, I know you're there for me. I think one of your staff members said, they sent me an email because I said I want to, I said I needed Christian to help me do something. And they said, well, she could help you in the next call. I said, you know what? Let me do it by myself. Let me figure it out on my own. And I figured it out on my own. And so I just had to put that in there because I recognize that even as I serve clients,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people say, when they get with you, they think just magic automatically happens. It doesn't automatically happen.
Yeah.
I have to put the work in. I have to bring something to the table so Christian can work. And so I'm putting in the work.
Well, thank you, Derrick. And again, you're right. I mean, you are 100% the epitome of what it takes, right? Like there are some things that are a little bit, they're a little bit of a challenge, especially depending on your background and where you come from, what you're used to doing every day, and making the
Yeah.
time. And that's something that I really love about you. You actually stopped and said, you know what, I need to do this for my business. I'm going to make the time. I'm going to build this thing, because the one thing that I did promise you is that when you build this out and it's ready to go, you can run it over and over and over and over, right? And like you said, you can
I
be on
remember you said
vacation
that.
and this can make money for you while you sleep, right? If that's
I
your
remember
goal, if
you
that's
said
what you
that.
want, you can do that. And that's the thing. I'm all about helping a business be in control of their business. Because if you're
Wow.
always having to give things away to your marketing team or whoever else, that's great to have the help. But if you yourself don't understand what you're asking for, then you'll never know if what you want is really happening, if what you want is even being delivered, or if
Yeah.
you're even being taken advantage of, right? It's a
Right.
win-win for you and your team if you can communicate about the things that you want to accomplish in your business. And when it comes to marketing, whoever runs the marketing owns the business. So you as a business owner or you as a marketer, you
Wow.
need to make sure that you understand that, right? and that you take that to heart and apply that in everything that you do. Don't just throw ads out there. Don't just throw social posts up there. Don't just, throw bots on things if you don't really know exactly what they do or what they're for, what their intentions are. Make sure everything that you do has a strategy, and that strategy should always be bringing your ideal client or audience, the person that you know you can help the best, closer to connecting with you. That should
Yeah.
always be your goal.
Yeah, well,
Always.
it's definitely happening. I mean, I see it like literally, and you said even making the time, Christian, when you and I first started, I had a meeting with my staff member, who's my project manager, who serves all of the clients that we have. Because in addition, because I do consulting,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have all of the clients that I mentioned earlier. And I said, I need to take at least 6 months to focus on this aspect of the business.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave her a raise, and I said, I need you to take control of this side of the business so that I could spend time here in developing this particular marketing platform. My undergraduate studies was in marketing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I always thought, I said, well, since I majored in marketing, I got this. This is easy. I went to school. I paid thousands of dollars to go to college. I'm a marketing major. I got it.
Yeah.
This stuff they don't teach in the classroom.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Yeah.
No,
This
they
stuff,
don't.
I'm writing my admissions office asking for a full refund of $427,000 worth of tuition. Because
Let me know how
I,
that goes for you, because I want to see that letter so I can send it to mine, because it's exactly what you think.
I said I want
Honestly.
$427,000 refund worth of tuition for paying for this marketing degree that I ain't even using. That now the investment that I put in working with you is far exceeded the 4 years on the campus. However, but I'm still good.
Wow, that's an amazing compliment, Derek, and thank you, thank you, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
So, everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with us today, and just for allowing us to spend some time with you, just having this little quick interview and just kind of giving some insight. So, I know a lot of you are in different stages of your business. Some of you are rocking and rolling with your ads, fantastic. Some of you are still trying to figure it out, and some are just kind of like not really sure when or where or if now is ever going to be a good time for you to get started. And if you get anything from this, just understand that we can help you, that there are others just like you who are trying to make things happen for their business, but it starts with a vision. You have to see where you want to go and get there. Derrick had a vision, and his vision came to fruition in just 3 short years, and then it has continued to grow hand over fist, right? So just start thinking about the things that you know for sure that you want to accomplish, and start visualizing it, right? And then when you're ready, raise your hand and say, yes, I need help. And we will more than be happy to come and help you. All right. Well, Derrick, again, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I'm going to take us out now. Is there anything else that you'd like to close out with, or
Yeah,
any
just
words of
I just
advice?
for whoever who for whoever just had the opportunity to listen and be a part of this particular moment. Um, as a business owner, whether you're a business owner and an entrepreneur, just hear me loud and clear. Um, you're talking to someone you know, who just had a vision. I look at the people that I'm working with on television because of a vision. And so I just want to encourage if whoever is not to give up, like don't get frustrated with it and just quit. Frustration is a natural part of everything, but at the same time, stay with it. And then, I mean, if you're looking at really just being a learner of how to move it to the next level, I encourage you to reach out to Christian. I even go through the free boot camp and just see, but I had to go beyond the free boot camp. I know I want to work directly with Christian. I said, listen, what does that take? She said, this is what it takes. I said, okay, cool, let's go.
True story. True story.
It's a true story. What does it take to work with you? I don't want to know this class. No, 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 no. What's that right there?
Yep.
And here we are.
Yes.
True story.
Systems moving forward, complete
Yep.
business, set up in place. and
Yep.
ready to rock and roll and keep this thing going until the wheels fall off, and then continue to push it, right?
That's right. That's right.
All
But
right,
thank you so
Derek.
much, Kristen, for having
Thank
me.
you so much as well. And everyone, have a fantastic rest of your day. The boot camp will be going live soon. There will be a link where everyone can join if you choose to join. It will be for 5 days. However, it will be a little bit different than what we did before. I always got to keep it interesting and add some twists and turns, but you'll see that as soon as the link goes live later on today. Again, thank you all so much for hanging out with us today, and I will see you all on the next one. Happy weekend.